Good afternoon, Mount Moriah. I pray that everything is well with you and your families. 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verses 2 and 3 talks about the Corinthian church being a letter written upon the hearts of those who watch them as they live their lives as disciples of Christ. And the writer talks about them being a letter of Christ, or a letter written to Christ. That deals with our mission statement, where we are told that we are to demonstrate the standard of Christian living. I thought about that in light of Father's Day. I thought about my father, who used to show up for every practice my sister and I had, and every ball game, every recital, despite the fact that he worked a shift at the United States Post Office from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. And after he went to work, he would always show up. He never missed any activity that we had going on. And I often wondered how he did that, working from 3 to 11, taking off from work and being at every ball game, etc. And about 3 months ago, he told me how that happened. He simply went into work, clocked in when it was time for him to come to our practice or ball game, for example. He would check out of work, and then he would come back to work, and he would get back on the time clock and work those extra hours till it was time for him to get off. Well, undoubtedly, my father is a written letter, and he is a written letter to Christ in my life, in the life of his children and his grandchildren. And I have always sought to be the same towards my sons. I've always tried to be that example, that written letter that they could follow and exemplify in their lives. And so Sunday is Father's Day. Let me wish all of our fathers an early happy Father's Day, and I hope that the children who are listening, as well as the wives and special ones, have planned something for us as fathers on this Father's Day weekend. There was something that I want us to do in light of it being Father's Day. Children, spouses, special ones, take pictures of fathers, fathers alone and fathers with their children, and please send them to the church so that we can collect those pictures and send those pictures out on Monday or Tuesday of next week. So again, I wish all of the fathers in our congregation a happy Father's Day. And we have so many fathers who are written letters of Christ. I think about persons like Isaac Trout, both father and son, how father has been a written letter to son, and how I watch son being a written letter to both of his sons. I think about Sir Colin Franklin, and he being a letter of Christ written upon the hearts of both of his children. Think about persons like Reverend Hales, and him being a written letter of Christ for both of his daughters. Deacon Frazier being a written letter for his son and his daughters and his grandchildren. And I can go on and on and on and on. We have so many great father figures in our church, and we thank God for that, because what the world needs to see are men who demonstrate Christ, who exemplify Christ, and we have so many examples of that in our church. So please send those pictures, both of individual fathers in photos as well as fathers in their children, so that the congregation might see. We are waiting for the District of Columbia to enter into phase 2 of its reopening plan. In phase 2, we believe that there will be a reopening of the church sanctuary. We are preparing to do so. As soon as we hear something, we will let you know. I want to thank you for all of your support. Disciples of Mount Moriah to Mount Moriah, you have been participating virtually, you have been giving, and you have been so supportive of your church and your pastor during this time. Let us continue to pray for one another, and let us continue to pray God's blessings upon each other. I love you. I pray for you every day, and I thank God for the opportunity to serve you.